Welcome. This is a presentation from keepontheroad.com for using Motive ELD adverse condition options. We need to start with understanding what is adverse driving condition exception. The definition per the FMCSA is snow, ice, sleet, fog, or other adverse weather conditions, or unusual road or traffic conditions that were not known or could be reasonably known immediately prior to beginning your day or immediately before driving after a qualified rest, break, or sleeper berth period. So this brings us to what is a qualifying rest, break, or sleeper berth period. For this rule, a qualifying rest break must be a sleeper berth period of at least 7 hours, or a rest period, off-duty or sleeper, of at least 2 hours, or your 10-hour full rest. The 30-minute break is not considered a qualifying rest period. Drivers who are dispatched after the motor carrier has been notified or should have known of the adverse driving conditions are not eligible for the additional drive time. Such items as your desire to get home, shipper or receiver's demands, money, shortage, mechanical failures, roadside inspections. These are not qualifying adverse condition events. So that brings us to how it can be used. So if you do qualify up to this point to use an adverse condition, it does allow you to drive an additional 2 hours for past your 11 or 14-hour restrictions. Not more than 2 hours and not more than the delay. How often can you use it? You can use it as many times as you legally encounter an adverse condition. Are you required to annotate it on your ELD? Yes, you're required to annotate any time there is a exception that you're using, such as personal conveyance, adverse conditions, emergency conditions. These are all required to be annotated on a log. If it only takes you an hour to get through the condition, can you still use the full 2 hours? As mentioned earlier, no. You can only use the time that you were delayed. How can you use it? An absolute prerequisite is that the trip could have been made legally minus that adverse condition. So if it was supposed to take you 4 hours to drive from point A to point B, and during that time there was an accident and the road was shut down, and now it's going to take you 5.5 hours, that's perfectly legal to use the exception, as long as you had 4 hours available when you started that part of the trip. May you use it even if the incident has been cleared. If it still caused a delay, so that 4-hour trip was extended because traffic had come to a standstill and you were delayed, but by the time you got there the accident was cleared, yeah, of course, that's still an adverse condition. You can still use it. So if you've met all these requirements and you're confident that you are legally operating under an adverse condition, as long as you have updated your app, which is very important, you must be operating in version 50 or above, and your carrier has given you access to use the exception, then you'll follow the steps listed here. First, please never, ever stop driving to make changes to your logs. Pulling over to make a change on your log is not only dangerous, it is not acceptable for any reason. Just leave the screen looking like this until you legally come to your destination or your safe stopping. Once you have stopped, go on duty and then select today's log. You select today's log simply by touching it. Once the log is open, you'll see I have an 11 and a 14-hour violation here. So I'm going to select that plus button on the bottom of the log. Once I do that, if I have been given the option, then I will select Take Adverse Condition Exception. As soon as you select that exception, you'll see your red will go away. It does put the time in. You don't have to add that yourself, where the violation started. And as long as you haven't exceeded 2 hours past the allowable time, you will no longer see any red. Okay, so very simple to use it, more complicated to make sure you're using it legally. Again, never use this to conceal violations. Never use it unless you're legally able to claim an adverse condition. Hiding red on your log is never a good thing. It'll always result in a falsification. Also, never use PC for an adverse condition. That's also a falsification. And false logs result in violations, shutdowns, and most companies, termination. Hope this video helps, and if you have any questions, please leave comments below. Thank you.